You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
In a world where podcasters talk about the same old pop culture topics, two heroes must rise to bring forth a new era of podcast entertainment. The Cigar Nerds Podcast. Movie reviews, pop culture debates, news, science, and even beer reviews. We're stranger than Stranger Things and funnier than an evil sewer clown. CigarNerdPodcast.com. We all smoke down here, Georgie.
Welcome to the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast. On the go. It is now past 9:30. I'm trying to back up and not kill anyone. So Saturday night, March 23rd, I got to see Shazam 2 weeks early. That would have never happened had I just said, screw it, I'm going to do this last minute. And I'm glad I did. And of course, now I can't get out of the parking lot because I'm not paying attention. Can I cross in here? Yeah, okay. So, I'm trying not to give too many spoilers in this podcast. I'm just doing a quick reaction because I don't want to lose my enthusiasm, because I'll be really tired when I get to do this real podcast in a couple of weeks. So I do want to review it with Mr. Gene when it does come out in 2 weeks, but for the most part, and if you listen to the Captain Marvel podcast, Gene and I kind of were on the exact same page about our feelings watching that movie. But since I've literally just watched the movie yesterday, and today being Saturday, I'm so much happier with Shazam. And I'm not saying this in a negative way to bash what Captain Marvel did, what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has achieved, but DC has struggled for a long time to get its bearing, to get a sense of, we have characters, we can do good movies just like Marvel can, and it's taken them a while to get to that point. The course correction started with Wonder Woman. You can argue a bit that Suicide Squad did a bit, which I still like, and a lot of people didn't care for, but it definitely was a lot of a different take, a lot of humor that you would see with villains and not necessarily, with heroes. So DC has been taking chances. Wonder Woman being on the big screen was a big deal for me and for a lot of fans, seeing an iconic character like that to be on the big screen. And then, lo and behold, we're going to get an Aquaman movie that it did over $1 billion. And who would have thought that would have ever happened? So now, since I have this preview ahead of time for 2 weeks, again, not spoiling too much, but Shazam was so much fun. And everything that, and I'm trying to remember certain aspects of the comics, like Dr. Savannah. I do remember other characters in there, but for the most part, this is probably the best DC movie has done with a focus of a family, kind of like what Guardians of the Galaxy did. And not that this is on the exact same level, but you have a lot of genuine feelings. And I'm kind of happy that what they delivered really kind of showcased that Marvel, we can do good movies too. And this was definitely a good answer to that. I'm really happy with a lot of things as a DC fan and as a fan of Shazam. Zach Levy really deserves a lot of credit for having the enthusiasm like you would have like Tom Hanks in Big, and really make this an enjoyable movie. There was actually a nod to Big in one scene, which I'm not going to reveal at this time. But there are moments and it feels like, wait, isn't this like The Adventures and Babysitting? That kind of movie. And it has just a lot of wonderful moments that who would have thought that DC could do a really good movie at this time? And we've gone a long way since, Man of Steel, which I love Man of Steel. I'm not knocking what DC started off with. Marvel, I've talked about this before, Marvel movies before the MCU was even a thought, tried to make their own movies. Not all of them were great. And until someone came in and just said, this is what we need to do and this is how we can go about this and make it all work together, DC hasn't gotten that person yet. So technically, the DCEU, I think, is officially dead. Okay? So, for right now, like they're planning to just make movies using these characters. Maybe down the road we'll go ahead and just basically try again. So, earlier today I read that Wonder Woman 1984 has been pushed back to 2020 because they want to not rush this. They want to give a good product. So, we're not going to get any other DC movies at this time, but now I'm really looking forward to seeing Wonder Woman. And hopefully the success between DC for Shazam and between Wonder Woman in the next year, we will have at least a more definite plan about what's going to happen in the future. We still don't know if we're going to get a Flash movie, although Ezra Miller is trying to work on the script. And I think it was Jeff Johns that's also wanting to help him write the script. And then hopefully we'll get another director because we've lost so many directors trying to get that off the road. Green Lantern is not necessarily the Green Lantern, I should say, the Green Lantern Corps. So I want to say there's a game plan. I don't know what that is right now, but we've reached a milestone of successful character movies. So, I credit Man of Steel being really good from my sense. Wonder Woman is fantastic. Aquaman is fantastic. Shazam is fantastic. Yes, we'll get a Matt Reeves trilogy of new Batman movies, but I'm sure it will be fine. It's just a matter of there are other characters that we can do more with. And even like the writers of the Avengers Infinity War saying, the way to kind of course correct what DC is doing, focus on your characters individually. Iron Man was never a major character like Spider-Man was. But he turned out to be fantastic and was the core of what later became the Avengers. So, we need to see more heroes. More chances of playing diversity in a better way. Captain Marvel was kind of Marvel's answer to Wonder Woman. I still don't believe that that was achieved in that sense. But, DC did something first. Aquaman dealing with a whole realm underwater. Of course, it's all CGI. Sorry, spoilers. But it still had a different feel, a different look. It had a new world that we've never had this before. So much like what Guardians of the Galaxy did for Marvel, exploring space, or Thor with Asgard, you look at a different aspect and it becomes standalone. It becomes unique. Now, with Shazam, because the core about this is about family and is probably one of the more grounded one, you can actually be sillier because Billy's 14, 15 years old. So you have a different take about a superhero that he's not Aquaman, he's not Batman, he's not Superman, but it's so much fun to kind of look at this story as in, what if I had powers? And imagine yourself having that adventure. And it captures a lot of those feelings and a lot of those fun moments that you wish you could have. So I had a great time with this movie. I'm glad that I got to see this 2 weeks before, and I will go into a deep dive about the cameos. Oh, and to just give you a slight spoiler, there are two post-credit scenes. So plan accordingly. Don't drink so much soda. But it's right at the end of the movie and literally towards the end of the credits. So that's all I will say. But I am as happy as can be for DC and for Zach Levy to finally have, for him to be like the character that I enjoyed watching him as in Chuck, being a real super geeky guy and super nerdy. This was just like, you made it to the big leagues. Now you're going to be an action hero figure. So I'm just going to leave it at that because since I'm almost home. But I wanted to record my joyful reaction to watching Shazam. Now, the only thing that I would have to research is more about the characters, because there are some that are like, I kind of knew this. I need to do some more research. But for the most part, I think this is definitely something for the family to watch. But you would be rewarded as a DC fan if you know your DC history about these characters. So I can't rave enough about this movie without spoiling it too much. But again, I'll do that in a couple of weeks when it does officially come out and talk with Mr. Gene about this. And hopefully he will have the exact same reaction. It's not that uncommon for us to differ our opinions, but we shall see. So, that's it. On that note, thank you for listening to me and to the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast. It's sci-fi. What's our point of view? Good night.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.